you're going to give me your birth date, and I'm going to be able to. Whoops, there we go. Guys couldn't see me. You're gonna give me your birth date, and I'm gonna tell you all of the multiple personalities that you have. And you want to know how many we have? If you know what time you were born, we have five, six tertiary, 6 to 8 tertiary. Sorry, primary personalities. And then we have secondary, and then we have tertiary. So, what is your ascendant? What is your moon sign? What is your sun sign? What is your Mercury, your Venus, your Mars? What the hell do all of those mean? Okay, Holly in the house. Holly's in the house. And we're going to talk about planets and stars and exactly what that means. And why do you want to know all of these different types of personality traits? And we've already got June 1980. We've already got one from Moscow, Russia. Not sure if she's living there anymore, but we're going to focus on that. And then I'm going to talk about some global predictions. I've got 3 sessions coming up today. This one, I've got another one in 2 hours from now, which is going to be around your love language. What is your love language? And some of what I'm going to be telling you right now, like your Venus and your Mars, is going to be basically what your love language is. But there's a bit more to that. Okay. You're in Nicaragua. Of course, I know you're there. I do tons of readings for you. And then we're going to take a look at the third one, which I'm going to do about 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. I'm not sure. I've got set up for 8, but might do 7 Eastern Standard Time, and that will be readings. That will be predictions. And each time I'm going to give you a global prediction of what the hell is going on in the world right now with all of these convoys and people banding together and people creating mayhem. And for some people, it feels like peace, right? What is it? Which one is it? Well, you know what? Whenever there is a war, I'm not saying this is a war. I know that some of my American friends are actually concerned that there will be a civil war. They've been concerned about that long before all this convoy shit went down. Excuse my French. I'm allowed to say that, Canadian. So when that came down, I predicted this in November of 2021. And you can look it up. I've been posting it quite a few times. You can scroll through or look at my images on my profile in Facebook, and you will see that I predicted it. Now, I did say it was going to be the people stand. The people will stand for themselves and not trust the government, not rely on the government, and not rely on big corporations and big systems. That was in November. I had no idea it was going to be a bunch of truckers with the convoy. Okay, I didn't see that far, but I definitely saw that this was going down. When will it end? Some of you might ask. Some of you have asked, when will the COVID end? And I've said this before, and I will say it again. It is not going to end until people end it. Stop it, my puppy. People are not going, it's not going to end until people end it. And then, so you might say to me, well, what do you mean, Holly? People don't end a virus, right? And in a way, yeah, because if you are subscribed to the herd immunity, then there's that one perspective and one belief system as well. But that's not what I'm saying. All along, right from the beginning, 2 years ago when I wrote my book, I realized then, and I said it, and it was channeled to me in the book, that the world is out of control, and it's around capitalism and consumerism. And this is the elephant in the room. All of this is the elephants in the room. You know what elephant in the room means? It means it's been there. It's this big, giant thing that's been there forever, and nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to recognize it. Nobody wants to notice this. So this isn't about a virus, and it isn't about whether our shelves are stocked or not. And as I was going, I digress. As I was talking about war, I've never been a believer of war. I don't like war. I have a hard time on poppy time, even though I have a grandfather that was a veteran, and I have a lot of respect for the veterans. And I admittedly know that I'm ignorant to it. I really don't know enough. I didn't live through the Holocaust. My mother did. I did not live through war. So maybe if I lived in these war-torn areas, I would love that there was a war to bring peace, right? But I don't believe that it has to be war to bring peace. I believe big, giant corporate government entities create this desire to make it a war in order for the peace to happen. Okay. Hi, Evan. Thank you. He says, I love you, Mommy Holly. I love it. Thank you, Evan. Nice. I miss you. I haven't seen you in so long. We're going to have to make that happen. I know my husband has visited you locally. So, with that being said, war was normally to create peace, to bring peace between a um, a country that was in distress of some sort, right? And that's why in Canada, I'm in Canada, a lot of people are hanging these flags upside down because they're saying that our country is in distress. And since it went viral, I mean, we're Canada, okay? Who pays attention to Canada? Everybody pays attention to the United States, right? Whatever the United States do, they just seem to be this barometer, this navigating pivotal point of the planet that everyone, hangs off of the coattail of the United States. And the providers of that is China, which capitalism, etc. But here we are in Canada, and it has become global. Why? Because apparently people all over the world feel like they're in distress as well. Okay, so this is not over until the people start to provide for themselves and start to provide themselves with their own simple needs. Now, this might sound a little bit unorthodox or maybe orthodox, depending, but very similar to the Mennonites. I'm not sure if in the States or anywhere in the world you guys have Mennonites. I know there's another name. It's not coming to me right now, but it's very similar. Okay, so for me, it's around going back in those days, the Mennonites. Now, do we have to live without modern technology? Nope. So it won't be like the Mennonites, right? But a lot of them have these different levels, and a lot of them have cars and computers and cell phones, and they live off of natural, normal technology. But what I mean is that they provide for themselves. They provide for themselves as a community, and they provide for themselves as an individual. And in order to provide for themselves as a community, they have to provide for themselves as an individual and vice versa. We need to get back to that. And my book, 101 Answers from the Universe, talks exactly about that. And I wrote that in the summer of 2019. And I talked about this day was coming, right? And it would get to the point where we would be at loggerheads. But you know what's really interesting? And then we're going to get into looking at your charts and finding out what are the different layers and levels of you. What is interesting, and I can see that I'm not on video on the other one. Oh my goodness. There we go. Hi, everyone. Okay. Facebook people, YouTube, you haven't seen me on video. I forgot to turn that back on. But so what is interesting is that the people, and somebody mentioned it to me earlier in one of my groups, is that science is becoming like a religion. People are choosing sides. People are choosing sides, which is science, government, and who is ruling the exposure, who's representing science, government, is the media. It's the media. The media, mainstream media, is representing and speaking for your government and I got to put my dog away before she drives me crazy. And so I want you to think about this for a second. Okay, so what's happening is it's come to the point of what side are you on? What side of the fence you're on, which is fine because sources told me that we need to have both sides. We need to have both representation in order to create this yin yang, this balance of masculine and feminine energy, balance of yin and yang energy that has been out of sorts globally and in the universe for a really long time. Okay, science is about question. We are seeing dogma. Yeah, I believe the person who's talking to me, she is she is of the sciences herself, I believe, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, this is definitely about dogma, but there's too dogmatic. I guess that's why, one of my clients had mentioned that this is becoming like a religion, because religion is dogmatic, right? And this has become very dogmatic. And what I want to see, and unfortunately, we have to go through what we're going through right now. But what I want to see, going to see if I need to clean this up a bit, is a bit of both. There's no right or wrong. You want to go here onto, and this is what I'm predicting, that the world is going to split in half like a cell. Okay, so the earth is going to split in half, and there will be you live in this paradigm, you live in this entity, and I will live in this one here. Okay, whatever that choice is, whatever your choice is. Right? So I want to live with this credit system. I want to live with this banking system, with this pharmaceutical, with this healthcare, with this educational, with this governing body. That's the way I want to live. And I over here want to live more sovereign. And I want to live by the means of my community. My community supports me. My community feeds me. My community takes care of my health. My community also has hospitals and banks and educational systems, etc. Right? Those are going to be two different systems, and there's nothing right or wrong about them. But we have to create them right now. There's this force that there has to be one or the other, and that's what's wrong with the yin and yang. There is no yin without a yang. There is no up without a down. There is no left without a right. There is no in without an out. There is no wet without a dry. There is no cold without a hot. Right? You have to have one to make the other. So this is what's happening here too. Okay, so you're going to make that choice. We're going to make those choices by 2025. Right? And if we don't make those choices by 2025, we're in trouble. We're in trouble because one is going to take over. Okay. And that one, not everybody is familiar with right now, but it looks very similar to what we've had for the last 30 years, except it's going to become very, very strong and very, very powerful. And then that's not good for anyone. And there's no going back. That's what they even say with in the hard sciences with the global climate change as well. And they're both going to be serving these needs of global of global stress, global distress. The earth, the planet, the waters, the oceans, etc. I mean, I hope they are. Otherwise, Mother Nature is going to bring us down. And we might not have a whole lot of choice there. So, anyways, with that being said, I am done with my spiel, and I am going to now take a look at people's charts. And so the first one, and I'm going to just tell you, there's no predictions here. It's a little bit, I'm going to tell you a bit about your basic personality. And the first one was Miss Wheelcock. And she says she's in, she pays a lot of attention to Canada. I pay a lot of attention to Canada. Very sad. I would like to know what your very sad part is and what are you paying attention to? I find that really, because this is news, right? Talking to a real person who's telling me, who lives in Europe, and that's a really weird noise. Who lives in Europe and is watching Canada, and we don't hear that news. We hear what the media wants to tell us, right? We don't know really what's happening where you are and what you're experiencing, what you feel about it, and how it's affecting where you live. That's the real news. And to the restrictions. Okay, so what are your restrictions there? Can you fly? if you're not vaccinated, can you actually, even people that are vaccinated here, there's some really crazy restrictions. Like a whole family was vaccinated and came from Vancouver 2 months ago, went to Egypt, came back to Vancouver 2 months ago, and they were detained in a hotel, like a jail, for 2 weeks. They had no Wi-Fi, I don't believe. They might have eventually had Wi-Fi because I know she was talking about it on social media. They had crappy food. They couldn't get their own food. They had nothing. They had the same clothes that they were wearing. They couldn't have their luggage. They had to wait till food was served. And I think the first day they were there at 3 and they were never served food that day at all. So that's pretty disgusting, if you ask me. And I don't use that word very often. So where you're at, are you, if you're not vaxxed here, you can't go to a restaurant, you can't go to gyms, can't go to any entertainment, can't go anywhere except for grocery stores like Walmart and grocery stores and liquor stores, of course. Government has to make their money, and we can't travel ban. However, there are, so whether you are vaccinated, if you are vaccinated, we can go to we can go to restaurants, and we can go to movie theaters, etc. We can go to big games, events and concerts. And if you're not vaccinated, we can't do any of that at all. So, and we can't travel. But if you are vaccinated, we can travel. So, except Alberta has let loose, and I think BC is about to, but it doesn't correct the travel ban outside of Canada because that's a federal jurisdiction. Okay, so I'm going to see what she has to say. Many Canadians coming to Nicaragua, coming here because there are not restrictions, no restrictions here. Wow. Yeah, I've got a friend that moved from Canada to, that's not Europe, I'm sorry. South America. So I've got a bunch of clients that a bunch of clients. I have a client in the family that moved to Ecuador, and they're bugging us to go in the fall. Now they say it's not a good idea because it's rainy season now, but we might go next fall. We might go for most of the winter until the rainy season hits, anyways. And yeah, no restrictions there either. And they live like that. She has an uncle that's a doctor. Like, I want to say doctor, but he is an MD, but he's very naturopathic as well and has all naturopathic ways of approach. But if you need it, he's got the medical approach too, because he is an MD. And she lives in a small town, and that's the town's doctor. And she even does IVs for vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin B, like really just everything all wrapped up in one doctor. And that's amazing. That's the way it should be. Okay, so you gave me your so June 3rd, Monica. Okay, I just did a sort of a friend's rendition of Smelly Cat, except I said Monica. If you don't know that, look it up. YouTube, Smelly Cat. It's just freaking hilarious. Okay, so she's got her time, which is good, at 4 a.m. And in this case, I'm going to go right down to the country and the city as well, because this determines her house placements. If you don't have the time of birth, it doesn't mean that I cannot make a lot of predictions, because I can. But with the time, we can do the houses, the ascendant, the descendant, and the MC, which is your house of career and money. Ascendant is sort of how do you fare in society? How do they see you? How do you package yourself? How is it important for that? So we're going to give you a whole rendition of who you are. And I'm going to see, you're not on, sorry, I want to see, there we go, if I can put this up. Because I know I can't do it there, but should we remodel our home? Okay, no predictions right now, Andrea. I'll do predictions later on today around 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Okay, right now, I'm just telling you what your birth chart is. What is your moon sign? What is your sun sign? What is your Mercury, your Mars, your Venus, etc., your ascendant, and what does that mean? Okay, so hi, Pippa. So I will, and everybody here has given it to me as well. So let me see how I can do a screen share here. Look at those birds. They're just coming alive. Here it is. So I'm going to do a screen share and okay, so I'm going to try screen share. There we go. And hopefully you guys will be able to see this. Uh, share, and I'm going to jump right away to here. Okay, so this is Monica's chart. Monica, you can't see it. I'm going to just give you a quick boo at that, and I will. Can I reverse this while I'm here? Yeah. So that's your chart. Okay, I know, like, what the flip is that? This is your moon. And you can see your sun, your moon, your Mercury, and your Venus. Now, you're going to ask me, but Holly, there's Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, True Node, Chiron. What does that mean? Those are more complicated, more around people in your age group as well. And it's generational, more generational. And I look at the combination. So I will look at Uranus. If you've got Uranus up against another smaller planet, those first ones, then I mentioned that. But anyways, let's go. So her sun is in, as you can see here, her sun is in Gemini, and this is her sun here in the 12th house. That means, because we have the time of her birth, that means that she is bringing, specifically with Chiron here, and it's embodying two zodiac signs. So she's come into this lifetime with a gift from a past lifetime that she didn't actualize. You didn't do it last time. You didn't cut the mustard. You didn't make the grade. Okay. Now there's nothing attaching itself to it. So this means that you kind of stand alone in trying to do that. However, you will get it. You will receive the essence of that gift again through an abandonment, right? Usually from father, because the sun represents father, but supported by mom. Okay, because that's a positive one with the moon. So then there's your moon in Aquarius in the 8th house, the house of psychology, the house of other people's money, the house of death. And sometimes that means that you've experienced great loss, maybe a death. Maybe that was the father as a child. Could be the mother, since the moon is in that house. And therefore, but it also means that you are always very interested in the psychology, in general, and the psychology of emotions, the psychology of feelings, and how can you articulate, learn, teach about those feelings and emotions on a psychological level. You're gonna have to remind me what you do for a living. Yes, I got June. My dad died in 2018, big loss, and I'm a psychologist. All right. I know I've done tons of readings for you, but until I actually get on the horn with you again, and I start talking, somehow um, Source, plus I make notes, but Source also just gives me the whole story. I remember what we talked about, what we said, um, the language that we discussed, the language that we used, etc. I remember everything. So there you go. And now we've got one from Sri Lanka. We're going to do that one as well too. And that was a big loss. Yeah. So now, then we have Mercury. Your Mercury's in Cancer. So far we've got 2 airs and 1 water. And the Mercury in Cancer is in the 1st house. And also, your Venus is in Cancer, and it's also in the first house. So it's really important for Monica to learn from this abandonment, to learn from loss. She's young, and losing a father 4 years ago is quite young to lose a father. And so it's important that you learn from that loss and you learn from that abandonment. But also, if you've had a childhood where your parents had some psychological issues, specifically your mom, that may have brought you, because you had to psychologically figure it out in order for you not to be hurt, because you're very sensitive. 2 planets in Cancer, very sensitive, also allergic to dairy, very sensitive to dairy. And through that loss, through that abandonment, through that emptiness, was also wanting to be a psychologist. However, you also experienced, if we look at Neptune and the sun here, that you had a lot of undiagnosed illnesses throughout your entire life. Every time there's something wrong, a lot of it is gut related, and a lot of it's your small intestinal related. But you've never really, every time you go through the rabbit hole trying to get all of these, even some of the minor diagnosed. And that also had you look at what is the emotional attachment to some of these health issues that I'm having. And part of that for you is that you need a regime. And the regime is showing in your Mars in 10. Okay, so that means just recently you had a surprise, unexpected, um, unexpected opportunity within for your in love and in a relationship, but also with, if you have children, but also getting respect and the ability to be a little bit more creative in your career as well. And that's Mars in the 5th house. Okay. Okay, so there you go. So now we're going to take a look at somebody on uh, Facebook. I got all of this. I'm going to have to move this. I got it underneath my phone. That's why I have to move it over. Move the tab over. Okay, that wasn't the one. There we go. Okay, so let me look at the chat in Facebook. Hi, Tanya. Yesterday was her birthday. So we're going to look at December 16th, 1961. Okay, now you guys, if it's still screen sharing, I'm not sure. You're going to be able to see what I do. So, and I go back and forth because I never remember what I just said. December 16th. Now, this one, she doesn't have the time. So we cannot look at anything. Also, Monica, your ascendant was in Gemini. Okay. So you like to be the teacher. You want people to look at you as informative. Okay. And you're welcome, Monica. So now I know she's born around the Toronto area, so we can put that at least. That can affect the moon sign. And this is where it gets tricky, right? Because we don't know the time of her birth. I would ask her a bunch of questions. I'm not going to do that now, but I would ask Camilla, a bunch of questions. And because look, at 4 a.m, the moon was in Aries. Her moon is in Aries. No, it may not be, because 3 to 4 hours later, it changed to Pisces. To Taurus, right? Now I do know her, so I think she does have this Taurian energy. So I believe she was probably born after 6 or 7 o'clock. But the rest of her chart, Sag. Whoa. This is a powerhouse. And you know what? The ascendant is showing there that it's Scorpio. I wouldn't doubt that you don't have a Taurus or a Scorpio or a Pisces or a Cancer. One of the more timid signs, because underneath, because you do come across as, when I first met you, as someone that sort of stays behind the scenes, a little bit more investigative, kind of just checking things out. But underneath that, there's a lot going on in your head. There's a lot going on here. A lot of words, a lot of dialogue. You're having arguments and you're bickering and you're telling somebody they're ridiculous and they're silly and what the hell were they thinking and what a stupid comment that was and weren't they thinking? This is a dialogue that you have. And you're very, very intelligent and you think very much outside of the box. But because I think you've got a Taurus moon, you're very humble about that. And people do not realize how intelligent you are. Well, I'll tell you, sister, with all of these planets, Sag, I think you're a Taurus here. Sag, 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 Sag. That's easy to remember. Who am I? I'm a Sagittarius. You are bang on Sagittarius. And you've got all these grand trines with your moon and your sun and your Aquarius. You've got something here to do. And it's telling me that about 4 years ago, 3 years ago, you were to begin that, to show people who you were and what you are, and the intelligent side of you, and working with intelligence, um, and and the freedom. You're never someone who can work in a dogmatic situation where you have a boss. You need complete freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom of expression, freedom of just not sitting in a 9-to-5 job, sitting at a desk. Okay. And also, you may be for one who wants to help other people around freedom. So in the next 2 years, you're going to be going through your final stage. And this is not easy. It's very confusing. And this is around trying to discover who you are. And you already know who you are, but you're not wanting other people to see who you are. It wants you to go with the gut, not go with the brain, go with the heart, go with the intuition. Okay, because that's a level of an instinct. Your instinct is extremely strong. And that's a level that not everyone gets to see in you. And because you don't recognize it and you're not exploiting yourself that way. Okay. But anyways, those are your signs. So now we're going to look at Tanya, because Tanya had her birthday and she is February. I don't know if I'm still sharing my screen. I'm going to try this again. I don't know why it disappeared. Unable to share, please. Oh, okay. I have to do something to my computer. I'll do it again another time. So we don't have your time either. The sound is gone. Everybody, can you hear me? Hi, everyone. What I'm asking you to do is, if you just popped in, and Ferry, I'll do that next. So what I want you to do is add your birth date and your birth time. Just trying to make this go a bit higher. And your birth time. And I'm going to tell you what all your signs are. I'm not doing too much predictions right now, but I am talking about you and who you are. Okay. So do that for me. And so now we got February 1374. And my phone is in the way, so that's why I keep, no. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just double check that I've done this correctly. Yep, I have. So you have a sun in Aries, a moon in Scorpio, a Mercury in Pisces, a Venus in Capricorn, and a Mars in Taurus. What does that mean? Okay, so the sun is how you are here to represent yourself in this lifetime and the lessons that you're here to learn. So you want to look up, what does Aquarius mean? And that description of Aquarian is the type of personality you're here to learn as an Aquarian. And the moon in Scorpio, another person with the mind of a psychotherapist. And so you really dig deep into understanding your emotional response to life, your emotional needs to life, and the emotional motivations of others in order for you to handle your very strong empathic nature. So the moon is your emotions and your feelings and your mother. It also represents that you may have witnessed your mother having anger management because it's got a connection to Mars. That's anger, Aries, Mars. And also some undiagnosed psychological issues. Mercury, which is the way you think, how you communicate, is extremely compassionate and a very compassionate nature and a compassionate thinking process for just life in general. And that's in Pisces. Sometimes because you pick up on the thoughts of others, you don't even recognize that you are. Some of those thoughts that are going on in your head, they're not yours. They're being broadcasted to you, and you're picking it up like a radio, like an open book, open source, like a radio. Do a lot of protection around that. And that means you're a healer as well, healer of the mind. And then there is Venus in Capricorn. And that means you do love partners that are older than you or more mature, or that you have a lot of respect for. If you lose respect for your partner, not good. And then Mars in Taurus, also indicating that you're in the midst of a magic wand phase right now. You can make the money, honey. You just got to find out what that dream is and make it come true. And do not deviate from it for fear of losing your status as being a slave to your wage, because you're slave to the wage. And you're afraid of letting that one go. But this is the time to do it. Okay, so now we're going to see who's next. I want to see if the sound is gone. No, because everybody's still adding all their stuff. So sound is not gone. Okay, so now we're going to ramble them on a little bit more faster. And we've got Pippa, September 30th, 1990. She just had a reading with me. So when I first start off, I'm just looking at this chart and talking only about you for 10 minutes. You, yourself, your childhood, your experience as a child, experience with your mom and your dad, your siblings, any health concerns or health issues. And so she already knows all of this, so I don't have to reiterate it to her. She's at 11:40 p.m. in Liverpool, UK. Okay. So we have the sun in Libra, the moon in Aquarius. Pump, props, girl. My moon's in Aquarius too at 20 to 21 degrees, and yours is at 21 degrees. Your Mercury is in Venus. Mercury's how you think. And your Venus is also in Capricorn. So your Mercury's in Virgo. Your Venus, how you love, is in Virgo. Very practical, very rational, very down to earth. We're going to do the love codes in the next one that I'm doing at 4:00. And then Mars is in Gemini. Okay. So now we're going to look at August 26, 86. Plus, I think I answered that for you before. My answers aren't going to change. But I will give you the deets of what your personality chart is. So sometimes when you see those little memes that I put up, you'll be able to go like, oh yeah, now I know this is my moon. So take note right now. Moon in this, Mars in this, Mercury in that, or listen to this again later. Okay, I'm going to be back at 4:00, sorry, Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to talk about your love code, and then 7 or 8 o'clock, I'm going to do some free readings. That's a maybe, because I'm definitely doing some tomorrow at 5 Eastern, my totally normal regular time every week. So bring all your friends. 6 a.m., August 26, 86, 6 a.m. Lots of sixes. And did you know that most people are born in the morning? Most people, and if you're a nurse, you know this. Most people die between 3 and 6 in the morning, and most people are born at 3 to 6 in the morning. Wait, what? Yeah, death and births highest between 3 and 6 in the morning. So if you work in geriatrics and you are a nurse, most nurses do not want to work that shift. Not because it's too early, because that's when most people die. And if you're a round the clock in the birthing unit, then maybe you love to give to the birth, that part, but that's obviously the most traumatic part of the birth. And if that is exhausting you, then you, as a nurse, you don't want to work between 3 and 6 in the morning. Okay, Andrea. So your sun is in Virgo. Your moon is in Taurus, and Taurus is around emotional need for financial sustainability, because Taurus rules money and finances, but also because it's tied with yourself, with your value system, with your self-value. Mercury is in Leo, probably one of the things you want to have an emotional connection and a need for a financial stability is because Mercury in Leo and Venus in Libra. You like your bling bling. You like you got expensive taste and got to have money to keep that up. And then there is also Mars in Capricorn at 12 degrees. So Sun in Virgo, Moon in Taurus. That's a good combination. Mercury in Leo, Venus in Libra means that you can be very accommodating to your partner for the sake of your romantic ideals of love, for romanticism, and because you don't want to rock the boat, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And then Mars in Capricorn is someone who also is either attracted to somebody who is older, or somebody who is very well established and you have a lot of respect for as well. But you might accidentally end up with ones that are controlling. And then because you can be controlling as well too, this goes into this kind of a battle, right? There's a big difference between somebody who's got their shit together and somebody who's in control to somebody who's controlling. So let's take a look at which is 12 of February. She's in my Instagram. She's in Sri Lanka. I can never say that right. Sri Lanka. What's going on there? Are you guys under a bunch of restrictions, and are you watching Canada? What kind of feedback do you got around that? And okay, I don't know any major cities in Sri Lanka, so I'm not sure. I have to have a city in Sri Lanka, so I'll go somewhere kind of close by, and it'll be very close, very close. So I've been forgetting the people that have their time. So your ascendant is in Cancer, the sign of Cancer. You're in Aquarius. You got a moon in Aries, and a Mercury in Aquarius, a Venus in Aquarius, and Mars in Cancer. So you are air, fire, air, water. You got sensitivity to dairy as well. And you real fighter for humanity, big fighter for humanity. So you're a big team player. Humanity isn't like this global thing. Humanity is everybody that you work with, everybody in your community, everybody in your family environment or your friendship environment as well, right? Okay, so let's see what else we've got here. Oh, Faisy in London. Hi, sweetie pie. I know who you are. Everybody has different names everywhere, right? And live in Sri Lanka. Right. Okay. Now you're living in London. What's going on in London? Because we hear everything's dropped. And I listen to Russell Brand a lot. I mostly listen to his podcast because I like the people that he interviews. but the ones on YouTube, sometimes you get on my nerves because he yells a lot. Because I guess that's funny, but because he's a comedian as well. But he does, really share a lot of newsworthy stuff with a non-biased opinion globally around the world. And he uses a lot of concrete, actual examples. And he's been following what's going on in Canada too a couple of times. So we heard that London dropped everything, and that means the vaccine passports. Now in Alberta, the vaccine passports are dropped, but a company can insist, has the right to say that we need you vaccinated in order to work here. So I would think that a lot of the healthcare companies might continue that. Okay, so that's yours in a nutshell. Now let's take a look at October 14th, 1970, 10:23 a.m. Did I say that right? November or October? October 14th, 1970. Yeah, I didn't split my screens. 10:23. Okay. And so we've got Sun in Libra, Moon in Aries, which means you were born on a full moon because they oppose each other. Mercury in Libra, Venus in Scorpio, and you love digging deep. You got the mind again of a psychotherapist, but you also, sensuality, sexuality is extremely important in your relationship, and truth and honesty and vulnerability, extremely important in your relationships because you get some trust issues. And that stems from relationship with your mom and dad. And then you've got your Mars in Virgo. Totally cool, right? So your ascendant, which is right where your Neptune is, which makes you very psychic. You're picking up on the emotions and the feelings of others always, specifically with your loved ones, because Venus is in there in the 12th house, which means there's two relationships coming into this lifetime that are past life related. And so Sun Libra, Moon Aries, Mercury Libra, Venus Scorpio, Mars Virgo. Pretty good balance. So Darla, did I do yours? You're a psychotherapist, no relationship with my dad, Aquarius. Okay. You'll have to put your birth data there for me to see more. Okay, August 69, that doesn't tell me anything. And August 14th, 83. Thanks, Rosie. August. Okay. So you have Sun in Leo, a moon in Scorpio, Mercury in Virgo, Venus in Virgo, Mars at 0 degrees Leo. Okay. So also you've got the thoughts and the emotions and the mind of a psychotherapist. You're a huge problem solver and you're damn excellent at it. You're here to shine light on you. You're here to shine the light on you as a Leo, because you haven't done that in the past, and neither have loved ones in the past either. So you also have an idealistic, ideal, romantic, knight in shining armor plan to meet that. Not going to settle for less approach in this lifetime. That might bite you in the butt. Okay. So as you are growing and learning and going through relationships, which you have major trust issues, and there's one right now, or you're still stuck on one right now, which you'll be over in March. That'll be all over in March. Then your trust issues will come back. And you learn to trust yourself. Because this lifetime is all about you. Okay. Cobblestone Wisdom. We're going to take a look at you. She's on, or he or she is on Instagram. And that is October 24th. And Beirut, early in the morning. I don't know what early in the morning is. Early in the morning can be 1 or 2 in the morning. It could be 6 in the morning. It could have been lunchtime, like breakfast, 8 in the morning. Everybody's early in the morning is different, right? Anything after midnight is early in the morning and the morning gets later and later, obviously, until we get to like 6 or 7. Okay, so 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. is early in the morning. That's good to know just in case. Beirut. I think I've done a reading for you before too. This is all coming back to me. Now, don't forget, in 1 hour from now, I'm just trying to see what time it is. I'm going to end in a couple of minutes. And in 1 hour from now, I'm going to be back and we're going to do your love code. The love code. What song is that from? What song is that from? Yes, I have. Your sun is at 0 degrees Scorpio. We don't know your rising, so because we don't have the exact time. And it does change. The rising changes every 2 hours. So we've got your Mercury in, so Moon in Sag, smarty pants. Your Mercury in Libra, Venus in Sagittarius, smarty pants, and Mars 20 degrees. Whew, girl, you just went through one hell of a ride the last 2 years. It's just ending right now. And there's been a lot of misunderstandings, red tape, misinterpretations. You've really had to dig deep to find the truth, because that's what you're here to do, to dig deep to find the truth. No more lies. And that's moving forward. No more lies. All fair, all in fairness. And this was for pure fairness, because you just did. It's not fair. And you could not separate yourself from it because it wasn't fair for the last 2 years or so. So that's really important. And then we're going to go over to Facebook or YouTube here. We've got Judy on YouTube. Okay, Judy, so I can't have 11/4/52 because I work with people all over the world. And I don't know if 11 is November or it is March, April, May, June, or it's, sorry, January, February. This is why I need actual months, because I can't think sometimes. January, February, March, April. I don't know if it's April 11th or November 4th. So maybe you can come back next time. Sapna, we've got no questions this time, Sapna. Either later tonight I will do a free for all, or I will you can come back, and in an hour I'm going to be doing the love code. I'm not doing live readings right now. Okay, so that's it. Thanks, everyone. As I said, come back later in the day at 7 or 8 Eastern. I may do some live readings. I'm definitely doing them tomorrow at 5 Eastern. But in 1 hour, I'm coming back and I'm going to look up your charts again, and we're going to talk about your love code. Okay? Namaste.